A central idea of Rudolf Steiner's The Philosophy of Freedom is that a free individuality, an ethical individualist, acts out of knowledge. What does it mean to act out of knowledge? We can have clear ethical, creative, and practical knowledge of what we are doing by developing these key abilities: moral intuition, moral imagination, and moral technique. Moral intuition is the ability to think out for oneself the specific ethical principle to apply in each life situation, such as do good to others or live in ways that ensure good health, without relying on a predetermined moral code or external authority. Moral imagination is the ability to creatively translate universal ideals such as the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, into specific ideas for action. Rather than merely preaching morality, moral goals are envisioned to enable moral productivity. Moral technique is the ability to transform the world in accordance with a moral idea without disrupting the lawful order that connects things. Practical skills are learned that are needed to achieve the envisioned goal without doing harm. Ethical individualists act according to their impulses. This impulse to act is moral intuition. Moral intuition is the ability to think out for oneself the specific ethical principle to apply in each life situation. It is selected by thinking from one's whole world of ideas. The ethical principle is selected for purely ideal, logical reasons by pure thinking or practical reason. Ethical individualists are not bound by prior conditions and make completely original decisions. All ethical principles are seen as having a certain value. In each case, the question is whether one or another principle is more important. The ethical principle selected is highly motivating because the realization of his ethical ideals is the highest pleasure of the ethical individualist. Moral imagination is the ability to translate universal principles into specific ideas or goals. A universal principle such as live in ways that ensure good health does not tell you specifically what to do to maintain health. The ethical individualist needs imagination to envision a real plan of action. The goal needs to be very detailed so it can guide the will to successful results. The idealistic goals of moral imagination inspires individuals to realize their highest ideals by changing themselves and the world. To change the world means to want to transform the current way things are being done to a new way. This requires moral technique. Moral technique is the ability to transform the world in accordance with a moral idea, with clear knowledge of the field that one is working in. Moral technique is learned by studying the science that relates to the specific field of work you are involved with. If the goal is to guide the development of children towards freedom and actualizing their human potential, then one should study a science of freedom, such as the philosophy of freedom, in order to know what freedom actually is. One would also need to study the science of child development to find the proper method of working with children. By understanding the underlying laws before you set to work in a specific field, you can avoid doing harm. There are so many examples of well-intentioned and heartfelt endeavors to do good in the world, but due to ignorance end up doing great harm. Ethical individualists who possess moral technique can use their knowledge to transform the world around them in accordance with their moral principles without causing harm or violating the natural laws. Moral intuition, moral imagination, and moral technique are essential for individuals who wish to act out of knowledge and promote positive change in the world. These abilities allow individuals to envision a world where their moral principles can be realized, and to act in accordance with these principles in a way that promotes positive change and progress. To act out of knowledge is the responsible expression of freedom of the ethical individualist.